Hello and welcome to the Calmcast, a time to feel calm and think clearly. I'm Clare, the Queen of Calm, a transformational life coach. I was a burnt out head teacher who finally made the journey to calm after years of trying, and I want to prevent you from having to do the same. The Calmcast is a series of short explorations, gently guiding you back to your natural state, which is calm and clarity. Just listen like you would listen to music, with an open mind and curiosity. There's nothing else to do. Now let's relax into today's episode. So today I'm just laughing as I'm starting this because just as I was starting to record it, I decided I'd try and put my pop screen on my microphone, which just is like, it's a distraction, isn't it? Like, there's a short time I have while the intro is playing to be ready for this recording, and usually, I have the sense. Well, no, actually, I'm gonna not lie to you. I quite often am distracted by something, fiddling with my phone or doing something, rather than just sitting here chilling out, kind of ready to share something with you. And if you heard a noise at the beginning of this recording, I'm going to leave it there to let you know that the pop screen was not attached properly and fell off while I was fiddling about with it, trying to just quickly get it on. And like, that just about sums up my journey. In one of the things that was a key feature as I journeyed into burnout, and that was trying to squeeze in a half-hour job into a 5-minute window on a just all the time. That was just it was just one of those things that I used to do. And this this distraction thing, today we're talking about focus, but really we're going to explore a little bit the opposite of when we are focused, which is when we are distracted by the world around us. And this morning I was distracted by the pop screen, which is just a massive irony, to it. If the pop screen had gone on and it had been fine, it probably wouldn't have felt like quite the same um teaching point as it were. So I'm really grateful that I did it, because it really helped me to see how I still can be quite easily distracted by things that are in my environment. Now, I'm going to just take that sentence and then I'm going to tear it to pieces, because distracted by things in my environment is not really what's happening, because that, I hope you can hear, is a really outside in idea about it. We're being told, aren't we, that we live in a very distracting world, or a very distracted world. I don't know which it is really, but perhaps there seems to be a lot of distractions in the outside world, and the result of that is that we as human beings are very distracted and struggle to focus. But what if that was just an outside in misunderstanding? Well, it is. I mean, it's not what if it was. It really is an outside in misunderstanding, because the things in our environment, no matter what they are, do not have the ability to make us do things. I can see my phone just off at the side here. It's on the side of I have a desk where my laptop is raised up, a sit-stand desk. I haven't stood much recently, actually. But I can see my phone. Now, my phone is just sitting there, quite innocent it is, bless it. And it's not able to make me pick it up. I mean, it may seem like it is, but I would have to believe a thought. I'd have to believe a thought that in the middle of my recording of this, that it's time to pick up my phone and start scrolling on something. I'd have to believe the thought, you need to pick up your phone now. And that's nothing to do with the phone. That's to do with me and my relationship with my thinking and feelings. Now, I'm talking there about a thought looks true and I pick up my phone. So why does a thought look true? This is like, oh, I'm having a bit of a moment here, but why does a thought look true? As opposed to looking like, oh, it's not appropriate, Claire, to pick up your phone in the middle of something that you're already doing. And oh, it's not appropriate to go into your mic bag and start getting your pop screen out in the middle of doing something. Or when you've hardly got any time to do it. Like, that was just me believing the thought and getting my mic bag out and trying to fiddle about with the pop screen. It's the same with my phone. If I pick up my phone, it's because I'm believing a thought. So what is it that makes us believe a thought that the thing outside there in the world is a thing we need to do? Well, it's our feelings. So we feel a certain way. I think I felt a little bit like, oh, is my sound quality going to be good enough? I felt a bit of doubt. I felt I felt I could, I felt I had the time to to squish it in, to get it on fast. Um, yeah, there was a feeling there that that meant that it looked a good idea to reach out and try and put my pop screen on. So our behavior is comes from the combination of the feeling and where we think it's coming from. So if I feel a bit of FOMO, fear of missing out, for anybody who's as old as me, if I feel a bit of a fear of missing out because I think I might be missing something on social media, then it will make sense for me to pick up my phone and look at it. With the aim, so that the feeling will be, oh, I feel a bit like lonely, or I feel a bit like a bit of FOMO. And so the thought that looks true in that moment is the thought that looks like it will resolve this feeling. So the thought that comes in is, I need to look on social media and that will make me feel better. So I pick up my phone and I do that. And that's all. I mean, that's just the most simple ever explanation that I've ever come out of my mouth for why people do what they do, no matter what they're doing. All of it is explaining exactly that same way. Now, here's a different perspective from a three principles inside out perspective, and that is, I feel FOMO, and I realize that it's just my mind that's stirred up at the moment. That there's an idea in my head that there's something better, that there's something I'm going to miss out on. So I realize this uncomfortable feeling I've got is just letting me know that my state of mind is a bit out of kilter at the moment, and I've got some thoughts that are problematic and mostly not true. Well, not mostly not true, just not true. And so because of the seeing that, I'm less likely to pick up my phone. The thought, pick up your phone, is going to look less true because that's in the outside world. And what's occurring is an inside thing. It isn't an outside thing. There isn't a relief for me in the outside world if the feeling is being generated inside. It doesn't work like that. There's a very clever illusion created. But have you noticed that if you do pick up your phone and you scroll on Facebook for a bit, do you feel any less bad? I suspect not. My fiance and I have been talking this morning about he goes onto Facebook. I very rarely go onto Facebook at all, and he goes into some groups that are for motorhome owners. But he says some of them. He was telling me this morning about how some people ask for help in the group, and then other people are like really rude to them because they've asked a question about something they don't know yet because they're new to motorhoming. And I was just like, oh, I'm so glad I'm not kind of in there, But he keeps going back in there, and then he tells me the stuff I don't want to know about people being horrible to each other, really. It's not of interest to me. But it's realizing that there is no better feeling available by scrolling on social media. Who feels better after they've scrolled on social media? I don't think anybody does. Fine. Please do let me know if you're the one person who feels great after scrolling on social media. I don't think I feel much now because, again, that's outside in. Social media can't make you feel anything. But I think if you're reading things that are, we should probably do a whole other podcast on this, but if you're reading things that are reminding you of some of your unhelpful thinking, like, or you're in comparison or things like that, then of course you're going into that kind of thinking and then you don't feel good. So, but it's really it's really seeing that this three principles perspective on distraction says there is no distraction other than in our thinking, and that we can actually change our relationship with that. We can start to see that we don't have to obey the thinking that says do the thing, do the distraction. And as a result of that, we can remain more focused on what's in front of us. And we can find ways that work for us to just put those other things aside. So for me, it's generally I'm concentrating on something and then, an idea. So just before the live as well, I remembered that I'm doing this PR training at the moment and I need to look at some magazines to see what magazines I might like to appear in. And I've been to the supermarket this morning. Crikey, they're expensive, aren't they, magazines? I was just like, whoa. And it's a lot of paper and it's shiny paper and I'm not sure that's the best recycle. So I thought, well, is there an electronic way for me to read magazines? So I need to remember to have a look at that. So I've written it down on a list. And that for me is, they call it brain dumping, don't they? I find that is help just, and that's not me telling you to do a brain dump. But when we realize that some thoughts are helpful, some thoughts are something, a new idea or something, we might want to jot those down. But an awful lot of what is going through there that's trying to is the distracting thinking is just check Facebook, or it's just not, or it's for me it's often what's in the fridge. Potter in there, gave something to eat, or whatever. There's all sorts of things that can distract us like that, or things that things in the world that appear to be distracting us when in actual fact they're not. They're just our thinking. So again, it's about seeing that this is all of it is created inside out. And whenever there's something that looks like it's outside in, that's where you get curious. That's why I do these sessions, is because bit by bit, we look at different aspects of life and we say, no, it can't be outside in. So let's look at how it's inside out. And distraction is distracting thinking, which we don't have to listen to. And in actual fact, it's probably an awful easy to just push eventually when you've been in this conversation. It gets easy to just push a thought to one side than to kind of try and use steely willpower to not pick up your phone. Because I hear a lot about people, I'm trying to use my phone less and I'm trying to, it's all at the wrong end of trying to change behavior. Because if we're trying to change a habit, we need to change how we relate to the thinking that creates the habit, not try and force ourselves. I can leave my phone in the kitchen every night and not take it into the lounge, and I can do all sorts of structural things. But actually, the best thing I can do is to become much more aware of what thinking it is that's leading me to pick up my phone too often, in an unhelpful way. Like, phones are really useful. I use mine all the time. It's such a useful tool. But it can be really, really distracting. And that's just one thing, isn't it? But remember, it's not the phone that's distracting, it's our thinking about the phone that's distracting. So I hope you found that helpful today. And I hope you have a great day that is free from distractions and more focused on what you would really love to be creating in the world. I'll be exploring this issue further over the next few days. We're nearly finished exploring productivity on Insight Timer, but starting on Monday, we're going to be exploring relationships. So if you want to join me there, please do. I'll be popping the link to my Insight Timer now into the show notes, so you'll be able to click on that and explore that with me. So, and yeah, thank you. I hope to see more of you on Insight Timer. Please do come and explore with me. Thank you. Thank you so much for listening. There's nothing to do now but bring some awareness to how this is working out in your life. Listen regularly to experience longer and longer periods of calm. This has been the Calmcast with Clare Downham, Queen of Calm. Take care and keep listening.